Hey, Ruqaya, thank you so much for being with me on the Purposeful Mindset podcast. I am honestly super grateful to have you on the show. I've been just looking forward to learn from you. Luckily, I've had the chance to have an opportunity to speak to you before the podcast, so I got to know more about your story. And I genuinely just want to go straight into this and get you to introduce yourself to my audience, and then just go straight into basically what are your top 5 like actionable life lessons that you've learned in your business, in your life, in your journey so far, that you think will add the most value to the people listening right now. And I will be, as always, giving my insights as well onto what you share. But genuinely, this is all you. Like, I want to learn from you. I'm listening and I'm present for you right now, and I'm super excited to learn from you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity as well. So, getting straight into it, I would say number one, I would say happiness. A lot of the time, we put happiness outside us and we believe it comes from other people around us or things that happen to us or, things that we achieve. But the fact is that if you're not internally happy and you don't feel happy within yourselves, nothing can change that. So I mean, like, a lot of the times we wonder, like, people seem to have everything in life. They have money, they have a beautiful spouse or a boyfriend, girlfriend, or they seem to have it all. But then something goes wrong, maybe they end up in the hospital, or something happens to them, unfortunately, or they hurt themselves or something, and you can't understand or comprehend why that happened. A lot of the time, that's because internally they are unhappy. And if you're internally unhappy, it doesn't matter how many things you have, how many people around you do whatever they do for you, nothing can change your happiness except for yourself. And that's a very important lesson for me.
I think so true. Like, for me, happiness is basically, the way I say it in a nutshell, for me, happiness is doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, whenever you want. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
And
this,
the thing
and it
is
all
that
comes from internally. Yeah.
yeah, so it always comes. I mean, even if you couldn't do what you want when you want with who you want, right? It still doesn't have to define how happy you are inside. A lot of the time, we can't always have what we want when we
Mm,
want. You know what
definitely.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even so, it doesn't have to define our happiness. And then that brings me to my second one, which is expectations.
Mm,
And the fact is that although we want to always have goals and like dreams and things like that, but when you place expectations on how they need to show up, where they need to show up, in what way, all the definitions you put attached to it, and you put these expectations, then even when it smacks you in the face in a different way, you won't see it.
mm,
Why? Because you only expect it to show up a certain way, right? So
yeah.
expectations comes in also, like, if you expect someone in your life to treat you a very specific way, right? Then it will affect you because they're not doing what you expect out of them.
Yeah.
However, if you're open to different opinions, different ideas, different scenarios, then you may be able to see that maybe certain things they're doing may be better for you than you
Mhm.
actually thought. But if you're not open to different ideas, different ways of things showing up for you, your expectations limit how things and how you can change, how things show up, how like, the changes you can create in your life or your business or any other way.
Mhm. Yeah, no, spot on. I loved it, and I think the main thing I just took from what you shared was that many people just expect too much. Like, they expect too high, and then they don't get it, and then they get disappointment, and the disappointment
Correct.
takes them to stress and anxiety and depression and sadness because I wanted a
Exactly.
big thing, but I didn't get it, and so now I'm going to be like head down, sad and upset about it. When in reality, if you didn't have that big expectation and just was like a lot of students come to me and ask me, Sadiq, give me some advice on my exams. The same tip I give every single student: hey, all you can do is your best, and
Exactly.
the best thing that you can do is your best. That's all you can do, and don't have expectations you're going to get an A star. just give your best, put your most energy, put the most revision in, do your best on the day, and then forget about it, because you are not in control of
100%.
your you're not in control of what you're going to get. You're in control of your energy and you being present on that day to just give your best. That's all you need to do.
Exactly. So based on that, like what you said, right? It's not even that, you know, that they have expectations. A lot of the time, like now you brought up like particularly exams, and they're aiming for an A. So when they even get a B or a C, they're disappointed to the point where it actually causes stress and anxiety. I mean, instead of looking at it and then being grateful, which is my next point, right?
Yeah.
Being grateful for actually, okay, I didn't get the A that I expected or that I could have got, right? And I got a C, okay, but at least I'm grateful I didn't fail, right? And next time I know I have to put in more effort. But on the other hand, if you don't have an expectation in the first place, right, you can be hopeful for the best, right? And whatever you get, you'll know you did do your best. And if you didn't do your best, you'll also know that, right? Because if you didn't study hard enough or you didn't put in enough of an effort, you'll also know that. And
Exactly.
you'll be more willing to look at yourself, you know, uh, how do you say, sorry, you know, sometimes I forget weird, normal,
I'm the same. Don't
basic
worry, man.
words.
I'm the same. Like my English is just like goes out the drain, and I'm
You
just like,
take,
whatever.
yeah, you take responsibility for your own actions. And if you're not willing to you know, to look at it objectively and just blame, and you know, go on a rampage of blaming, oh, but it's because of this, it's because the questions what, it's because of that, it's because of that. No, just take responsibility. Really, I didn't work that hard.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I can start sooner and put in more of an effort, you know, and then, you know, it'll be different. But the point is that it's not only about high expectations, because honestly, the thing is that it's interesting because there's two sides to that, right? Because they say you get what you expect,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where you have to have expectations. But then they say don't have expectations, so which way is actually right? Okay,
Exactly.
so it's not that you know, I feel like instead of saying you get what you expect, it means you get what you dream or you see, right? It doesn't mean that today you didn't get it, that it's not going to happen. It
Exactly.
just means that maybe it now's not the right time. So
Mhm.
just keep having faith and trust that that will be the next step, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part, is that like it's not only about the expectation, it's about the faith and trust that you have in whatever's right will come your way, whatever's meant for you will come your way in the way it's supposed to come, you know.
Mhm.
And if something didn't come up, like you didn't get that A, or you didn't you know, get something that you expected to get, right? Or you didn't end up getting in for the degree, you ended up getting in for a different one, you know, maybe it's time to open your mind to different possibilities, right? And
Yeah, I
be
always
willing
tell
to
them.
see them.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, don't, just because one thing didn't happen for you, it doesn't mean another amazing thing is not going to come into your life.
Yes.
It doesn't mean another opportunity is not there. Like I said, like, I don't know, recently I've been speaking to a lot of younger people, and a lot of like students have been asking
Yeah.
me questions on TikTok and stuff like that. And so you know, I love helping the younger generation, because it's like the way they think, they're more creative, ambitious, but they're really fixated because of their lecturers and because of university, and their teachers are
Yeah.
telling them that if you don't get good grades, you're gonna have a rubbish life and you're not gonna be successful. And I'm telling them the complete opposite. I'm like, no, believe in yourself, do your best. You are unique and special and amazing in your own way. And I promise you, if you suck at your degree and you don't get the best grades that you're expecting, I'm just telling you, being an older brother of yours, that you can do something much more amazing with your life having no degree. Because I don't have a degree, and look at what I'm doing in my life. And
Neither do I.
look at the people I'm surrounding myself with. Exactly. You see, like, and I
Yeah.
showed them the proof rather than just telling them. I'm showing them, hey, come and look at this person, or go and follow this person on Instagram. They're my friend. I've met them through social media, and look at where we're doing. We don't have degrees, but we are super passionate. We have so much energy. Look how crazy we are. we don't, and that's not because we didn't go
Yeah,
to university. It's just
but
we
it's
didn't
also
have
that they got to love what they're doing, right? They got to love
exactly.
what they're doing. The other day, actually, someone messaged me on Instagram, and it was a doctor, and this doctor was saying that, like, I'm not sure if I should study further, and I'm not sure how that will play out, and oh, it will like, it will take me a step back also in my life. And this doctor is a GP, but he wanted to study further, as in specialize. But now
Mm,
he's saying he's not sure if he should, because it might hold him back from other things in his life. So I said to him, like, um, he said it was Monday morning, and he said it's Monday, and it's blue as a Monday would be. And I said, why would a Monday be blue? And I said, don't you love what you do? And he said, no. Who does? I was like, I do. You know, if you don't love what you do, how can you be excited for a Monday or for a week or for working? You need to find your passion. And if what you're doing right now is not creating that passion for you, then you should study further, and you should find which field will actually allow you to build that love for your for your work. Because if
yep.
you wake up and you love what you do, then you don't even really, you actually wait for a Monday, because yay, things are starting again. It's not
Yep.
boring like the weekend and just so
Yeah.
calm and chilled.
Yep.
So it was just interesting, that that that's how people look at it, is that no, you don't, you can't always love what you do. You can always love what you do, and that's the whole point, right? And
Yep.
that's why you want to be doing what you do. It's because you enjoy it and you're passionate about it. And so anyways, the next one is gratitude. And for me, I feel like gratitude is one of the biggest lessons in life. I mean, you know, some people will literally say to me, but what do I have to be grateful for? And I'll say, okay, you keep looking too high. What are you looking for to be grateful for? Well, I don't have this and I don't have that. And I'm like, okay, so why is there still nothing to be grateful for? Right? Because they're thinking, the problem is people are not thinking about simple things to be grateful for, like the easy stuff. Everybody is looking out there of what do I have that I have to be grateful for. You have eyes, you can see. There's people that can't see. You have a body that's healthy. There's are people there that there are people out there that are not healthy at all. You have you have, if you have parents that are alive, that's something to be hugely grateful for. There's other people out there that don't have parents, or never even had a parent to
Hmm.
begin with. you know like, the thing is that when you tell people to be grateful, then instead of looking at the simplest things, you know uh, so during COVID, at some point there was this message that was going around, that someone posted on social media and came to everybody's WhatsApp, and everybody was forwarding this, and it was like something to the effect, like, I don't remember the details, I just know her point was, stop telling me to be grateful. I know there's people out there that are worse off than me. Stop telling me to be grateful. I know that there are people that don't have food on their table. I'll do it in my own time. But you know I understand your point of view, but then if I don't show you what's lower than you to be grateful for, how do you ever expect to find your gratitude? If someone doesn't show you show you the people that are less off than you, how can you be grateful for what you have? Because if you're always looking at the people above you, how can you ever be grateful? You can never be grateful if you're always looking up instead of looking down. If you're not looking at those that are less fortunate than you, and I mean less fortunate, they don't necessarily mean financially, I mean in every possible way. Someone that doesn't have legs,
Yep.
someone that doesn't have an arm. It's simple things. Less fortunate is not only about money, right? And if you're not looking lower and seeing, oh, those people that don't have what I have, and you're always looking at the people in front of you, and you're looking and saying, why don't I have what they have? You can never be grateful, period.
Yep.
Because you're always going to be ungrateful for what you actually have. And guess what? You're not going to attract any better. Because when you're actually grateful for what you do have right now, and you're sitting and you're counting what you actually have, and you're grateful for it, and you're genuinely grateful for it, then so much more comes your way. You just open so many more doors of opportunities, of love, of all kinds of blessings, you know. And that I genuinely believe, and I've seen it in my own life. I mean, like it's unbelievable. Even for, you know what's amazing is that you should be even grateful for the lessons. So when something doesn't go your way and you're grateful for the lessons it taught you, it even becomes more of a blessing for you as well, because that thing that didn't go your way ends up being a blessing for you in a different way, you know.
Mhm. Yep. Powerful. I'm just listening. Like, it's powerful, powerful stuff coming. Because when you talk about gratitude, everybody gets really, really passionate because they all have their own version, and we all have our own life lessons in gratitude. I mean, you're 100% correct. Like, I love what you just shared because I resonated with it so much. Because in my life, once I started really, like, people think I'm really like just extreme, like, you know, extreme with gratitude. Because I'm like, I am grateful for my eyes. Like, I woke up and I have hair on my arms. You know, like, some people have skin condition and they don't have hair on their hands, or they have pigmentation, or they have cancer, you know, or they have brain cancer, or they have, like, you know, I don't know,
Exactly.
whatever type of disease. And I'm just like, man, I woke up and I'm alive. Like, I'm breathing, and I'm grateful just to be alive. I'm having a nice warm shower in the morning, and someone in the other side of the world doesn't have water. They're fetching water from miles and miles and miles. I'm just getting it from just
Exactly.
opening a little tap, right? And it's like,
Exactly. Other people have to walk, and they don't even get warm water when they walk all the way there to pick
no,
it up. It's not even warm.
nope. It's
Exactly.
just muddy, dirty,
Exactly.
disgusting, filthy water. And so, like, yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think gratitude is a practice everyone should have. And it should be something throughout the day that we practice, not just a morning routine gratitude. Let me just write my gratitudes in the morning. No, that's not enough. I don't find that enough.
It should be here. I
Yeah,
don't even, for me, it's not about writing it down. It's about being it. It's
exactly.
about being it, becoming it.
Exactly. Yep.
That gratitude is so ingrained in your brain that it's not even a question. It's not something you have to acknowledge because it's there all the time, constantly. You're constantly in a state of gratitude. For me, that's like a huge, you know, a huge life lesson. That's one
Definitely.
of like the biggest ones.
I love it. And just to kind of quickly, just to add on as well, one of my mentors taught me, like, he goes to me, Sadiq, in your life, when you speak to people or when you meet people, when you're building relationships, never talk from logic and never talk from your mind. Talk from the heart. Always talk from the heart, with intuition, with love, with
True.
kindness. Because when you talk from the
Yes.
heart, the gratitude and the
People feel
love and
you.
kindness you have in your heart is where
Yep.
emotions will come out. Your true emotions and love and the good energy will come from there, not from here. When we talk from here, our minds are like spaghetti. You know, we're thinking of so many things and we can just easily say things. But when it comes purely from the heart, which is why I love being a speaker, because I didn't even rehearse my TEDx talk. It's nothing. Like, I didn't rehearse my TEDx talk. A week before,
I would have probably done the same thing.
yeah, like, I
Because
just spent a
that's how I
week.
am. I'm like, yeah. But that's the whole point, right? But you're right. That's when it actually comes from the heart.
Yeah,
That's when it's authentic. It's in its authenticity, like its pureness.
yeah,
Because when you rehearse it, honestly, you know, the thing with writing that I a little bit I don't like the word struggle. I is a challenge for me, is because when I write things down, then I read them again. And once I read them again, my mind gets involved to assess them and to judge what I wrote, right? Which is my next lesson, but to judge what I wrote. And my mind will come in and go like, okay, but this English is not as good. Like, okay, wait, we need to change this. Okay, wait, let me read how it sounds again. Oh,
yeah.
oops. Okay, this is not. And then by the end of it, I freaking deleted 3/4 of what I wrote. And then I don't even want to write it anymore. It's like, dude, like it's over. Like I don't want to write it anymore. I like delete the whole thing and I'm like, okay, it's okay. That thought is entirely gone. We don't even need to talk about it again. You know what I mean? So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna write anything down. For me, if I do a talk or if I'm like now, even, right? If I put the points down, meaning to say just the subheadings, right, is very rare for me. I don't even usually do that. And if I did it, it might have been 10 seconds before we started. Do you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Or
yeah.
maybe quickly, just before we started, it would come to my mind. Okay, what
Mental
am I going
note.
to say quickly? You know, just
Yeah,
mental note. Yeah, exactly. And otherwise, I don't. I feel like you need to go with the flow of energy, because vibration and energy is also around us all the time. And like when you're standing in front of like a group of people and you're talking or something, and you can see their expression, then you can see the energy, you can see what vibrates well with them. More of what's authentic for you will come out at that moment.
Definitely.
And then you can like kind of adjust yourself. Like I'll find, like if I've already committed to a talk and I have it in my mind, and then I'll feel like I'm betraying myself or feel guilty for going off course. No, I can't do that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know the feeling. I know the feeling for sure. Yeah. I think, yeah, it's just like you said, when you just go out and you just be yourself fully, completely just authentic and just vulnerable and honest and just pure love and the energy in the room, and you're physically
Yeah,
there, like in the present moment, that's what matters the most. That's when the magic happens.
exactly. So my next point was judgment. And so there's two sides to judgment, right? Because one is judging yourself and one is judging others, right?
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is that, so judging others is that like, okay, for example, like once I got asked a question about influencers, and like, don't you think they're so wrong and they're so, how can they do this and how can they do that? And I said, why? That's what resonates for them. Why is it for you to say they're wrong, or you know what I mean? Because what's good for them, you don't know everything in their life, you don't know, so you can't really judge them for what they do. You can just say, okay, I wouldn't do something like that, and that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't have to judge them for what they would or wouldn't do, because we're not all the same. We're all individual. We all have our you know, our good points, our bad points. We all have our you know, strengths and weaknesses. We all are the same. And the thing is that the moment you think you're better than someone else, you're actually doing yourself an injustice, because
Yeah.
you're not actually willing to take responsibility for the fact that that you also make mistakes. You also have things that you need to be, you know, um, you need to be corrected on, right? And if you can't take criticism, then why are you willing to give out criticism, you know? um so the fact is that, like with judgment, like for me, it was a changing point. It was probably in 2015 where I felt like nothing could actually sway my mind. It started in 2015, I would say, and then it started to build up from there, you know, to the point where like uh, people see my hijab and they think, oh, like you're very religious and you're very Muslim, and then you know, if someone does something different from your beliefs, and I'm like, no, it's not like that. This is who I am. It doesn't mean that I don't respect what other people feel, you know. And I'm always open about that in my talks as well. Like if I say, like if you believe in God or universe or anything, like everybody is entitled to their beliefs, and I don't judge you for it. And I'm not here to like judge you for what you believe. That's your choice, you know. Everybody has a choice, you know. um in any case, then there's personal judgment, your own judgment. And you know what, this is a funny one, because you know how many times we judge ourselves based on other people's possible judgments of us. So what we're doing is we're looking and we're like, okay, um you're judging yourself based on what other people could think of you, or what other people, um based on belief systems that you have, that you've imposed on yourself, but you make it that, you know, that it's coming from outside you. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's basically like
Because
people, you just feel like, you feel like well, every day you wake up, you kind of like, the way I say it is like, we tend to sometimes beat ourselves up um to such a point that we start believing the BS and the stories in our own mind, and we start
yeah,
living those beliefs thinking that they're real, and then someone comes externally into your life and be like, hey Sadiq, what are you talking about? Like, that's, you don't even like that, like that's not, are you stupid? Like, who told you that? You're like, I kind of told myself that. You're like, no, you're not like that. Like, why are you judging yourself? Why are you beating yourself up? It's not even true. So I found a lot of people that I meet now as well, they just like internally making false stories in their mind that's not true at all. But we just tend to judge ourselves, and we are our own biggest critique, right?
but you gave me a good example to use, because you said about waking up. Like it's funny, because like let's say you just woke up in the morning and you decided like, I'm going to go like this on YouTube right now or on Instagram or whatever, and I'm going to go live like how I look right now. And then so you say, okay, I can't do this because no, what and I'll ask you why can't you do it? Because what will people think? What will they think? They'll think I'm crazy. Will they think that, or are you thinking that? The
Yep.
question is like, who's really thinking that, right? Okay, so they'll think that. So what? How would you know they think that? They would. I mean, like, the problem is because you would think that, like, you tend to make it about you. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you make up the story, okay, and then you make it more real than it actually is, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and you judge yourself harsher. And then exactly what you said. The funny thing is, you feel that about yourself, right? But you've actually made it as though people would think that of you, right?
Yep.
But then someone comes to you and goes like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, I never ever thought that about you. You made that up like in your head. That's
Yeah.
nothing. That's not even the truth by far.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
For sure.
Um, okay, then another one is conclusions. And conclusions is basically like concluding that something is as it is. So for example, when, like, if you make a conclusion that if this happens, that will, if I do this, then that will happen, that's creating almost a belief system that that is the conclusion of what will happen if I do that.
Mm.
So the thing is that you're not even leaving it open to actually be a possibility, because you're closing yourself off from possibilities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. That's
Because
powerful.
you're putting such a big barrier at the end that you've closed off your possibilities.
Mm. It's almost like
So
you just concluded your own life story when it's not even like it hasn't ended yet. There's still chapter 20 left. Like,
exactly.
I know.
But guess what? But guess what? Because you do that, you actually only end up going in that direction. So instead of opened possibilities coming your way, you actually choose within the limitation that you've concluded.
Wow, that's so powerful. I just thought in my mind, like, click, like, wow, that's something I've never spoken to anyone about. Like, that's the deep thing. That's really powerful.
So the thing with conclusions is that it's important to change your conclusions into possibilities.
Hmm.
Everything's a possibility. And actually, I'm going to add one more. I think I did 5 already, but I want to add one more, which is choice.
Go for it.
And choice is like part of everything of this. It like kind of like it concludes it concludes this, okay?
Yeah.
But my point is that, so choice actually is the number one lesson. And why I say that is because when we realize that everything's a choice, like, people say, but not everything's a choice. Some things are meant to be. Even that's a choice. You just don't realize that it's part of your choice.
Hmm.
You see why? Is because when you're learning a lesson about something, right? Even the lesson you learned, you chose to go that direction, which means you chose that lesson,
Yeah.
right?
So true. So true. Yeah.
Because you still had to make a choice between 2 points, right?
Yep.
And when you made a choice, that was the lesson was part of your choice. So it was
Mm-hmm.
meant to go, you were meant to go through the lesson because you chose that direction.
Yeah. Exactly.
So choice for me is the biggest thing. People say it's so hard to change. I understand that it can be challenging to change. I do acknowledge that. But I always like people to understand that it's not hard. It's actually easy. If you really look at it, it's really a matter of choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's choice. You choose to say a mean thing right now, or you can choose to step back and say, let me think about this before those words come out my mouth. You have a choice.
Mm.
You have a choice whether you want to study, biology, or you want to go into a field of complete architecture, which is completely the opposite.
Yeah.
But you have a choice, right?
Yep.
And if you say no, but I didn't have a choice because my marks were not good, you did, because you didn't choose your marks. Because if you really wanted to, you could have studied harder and made that happen.
Yep.
And if you say no, but I gave it my best, I'll say, okay, but you chose that for your best. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Like every single step, everything is based on choice. Every single thing is based on choice.
The only thing we don't get to choose is our parents.
Agreed. You know,
After
we
that, we
know,
choose everything else, right?
and our siblings, right?
And yeah, basically your family. They're the only
Your
people
family.
you don't get to choose,
Yeah,
but you do get to choose your friends. You can't choose your
true.
family, and so I love
Truth.
that. I think that's
You
like
you can choose your family, but you can choose still how you'd like to be able to be around them, how
mm,
you would like to behave with them, how you would like to, actually, there was this kid who was telling me that, I find myself behaving like my dad, and I reminded him, but you have a choice.
mm,
If that's not who you want to be, you choose not to be. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I hate that it comes up. I said, you don't have to hate it, just choose differently.
yeah,
Don't hate it, choose differently. Because if we're going to use the excuse that I'm just being like my dad, then go back to your dad and see who he's being like his dad. And then what? We just all have excuses. When are we going to put a stop to it?
yep,
You have a choice. If you put a stop to it, and you know what, I don't know this is an exact science, but I'm just going to say it anyways because it is interesting. They say that, the changes you make in your behavioral pattern show up through your DNA as well. So you can kind of like cut them off here so they don't pass down your generation.
mm,
So if you really want to create a change, you change yourself, it changes within your DNA. So when you have children, they don't come with the same stuff.
true.
You
I,
cut it off,
I agree with that actually. Now that you said
you
that,
know?
in my mind, I agree. I'm just like, yeah, like I definitely don't want to be the parents. Like I definitely don't want. I love my parents, but I don't want to be like them at all. I want my future and my future generations to be completely different, which is why I'm like the only one in my whole family that's completely the opposite of all of them. Like I'm super positive. I'm doing my own thing. I'm focused on life, and I'm just like I'm changing the game for like my generation to come while they're still stuck in the old way of thinking. And I'm just like, nah, I don't even want to like, like so many things that I don't want to do that they do in terms of like culture and stuff. And I want to change it because my beliefs and my DNA has changed. And like over the years, just my life lessons have influenced me to be like, no, these are the things that I don't like with what they're doing. But like you said, I'm making the choice, and I've already made the choice a couple of years ago that I'm willing to work super hard now for the next few years to just change the game, change the future generation of how I'm going to be, like how I show up.
Exactly.
And so I think that's powerful. I love it. I think there's a beautiful way to just end the podcast. But I do want to ask you
Exactly.
one last thing though. um
Sure.
okay, I want you to visualize something with me. Imagine you're standing, because obviously you're a speaker as well, so like I
Yeah.
ask the speakers this one question because it's just very curious for me. Imagine you're standing on a stage with 90,000 people. Okay,
Yep.
90,000 people all around you, screaming, shouting. They love you. You've changed their life. And right at the end of like your speech, you've got given this one sentence that you have to say to them that they are all gonna like. This is the one sentence that they're gonna take home with them, and none of them are gonna forget because usually people always remember the last thing that you said, or it's the thing that they felt in their heart. So that last sentence for you, what would that be to these 90,000 people if you were standing on that stage right now?
All the power that you need to be the best you is within
I love it.
you.
That's amazing. Say it one more time.
Thank you. All the power that you need to be the best you is within you.
Love that. So powerful. So powerful. I love it. I felt it. I think all the 90,000 people in my
Thank
head
you.
felt it. That's amazing. I love it. Honestly, I'm super grateful for your time, Ruqaya. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
everything that you
Thank
shared.
you.
Like,
Thank you for having me.
you're
It was
welcome.
great.
Definitely. Oh, it was an honor. Like I've been wanting to have you on for so long. And then in the lockdown, I had all these other guests like prepared, and I was like, damn, like I really want to get her on at some point.
So it's the right timing. Now is the right timing, so it's good.
It was the right timing. Yeah, you decided, and the choice happened, and we made it
Yep,
happen. I love
exactly.
super
Choice.
cool. But Ruqaya, for all the people that are still listening, what platforms do you live on the most, and how can they reach out to you? How can they get your book? How can they learn more about you? Like, I definitely, and you guys that are listening still, make sure you guys go and connect with Ruqaya, because her content is amazing. Her quotes are gonna like really touch your heart. Super deep stuff. And I really want you guys to connect with her. But which platforms should they go and connect with you on, Ruqaya?
So I'm on Instagram mostly. So on Instagram, it's Ruqaya Kalla. So it's at Ruqaya Kalla. I'm sure you'll put it. I'm sure
I
you'll
will
put
do.
it down there or
Yep.
something. Yeah,
Yep.
because to spell it, and then I do sessions for people, like healing sessions, and you know coaching sessions and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And other than that, yeah, that's the best way. Facebook, but
Facebook and
Facebook
Instagram.
has a limit.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah. No, but I would just recommend you. I'll put the link for all of Ruqaya's stuff down in the description as well. But honestly, guys, you have to go and connect with her. I really appreciate your time, Ruqaya, and I'm glad that, like, I loved the 6 lessons that you shared with
Thank
everyone,
you.
and hopefully they can go and take action on those right now. And I'm super just looking forward to keep in touch, and
Yes,
hopefully one day
absolutely.
we shall be at an event together.
Yes, inshallah, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on the show, and hopefully I'll catch you soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care. Bye.